June 2024 GACHA revenue is here. Let's talk about it. Let's see what games are doing best, and let's see if Zenless Zone Zero is actually in trouble or not. Everything at the bottom of the list is pretty much dead. We don't need to talk about them. Let's talk about the big giants. We go all the way up. Some of these games are doing pretty decently, but hey, we are here to talk about the big three. Well, the big four. The big four is up here, and Love and Deep Space is surprisingly doing pretty well. We only lost $2 million, which hey, pretty good. But here, we are about to talk about the big three. Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail. Wuthering Waves on mobile, despite all the mobile performance issues and the overheating and the frame drops, all the problems which they had with launch, surprisingly still made $45 million, which is pretty good in my opinion. I'm pretty sure they made a lot more on PC because surprisingly a lot of people play on PC because the performance is much better. And when you consider the fact that 1.1 just came out, and with 1.1 I heard that the performance for mobile actually improved. So if we'll see if the trend continues and they go to make more money in the next month's revenue, that will indicate that the mobile performance has increased or decreased. However it is, we'll know later. But when you look at Genshin Impact surprisingly made more money even though they didn't have much going on. And I am very surprised about what Honkai Star Rail is. Honkai Star Rail actually did not make as much money as last month, even though Firefly came out this month. Firefly was one of the most hyped unit in Honkai Star Rail for God knows how long. And even all that hype, I expected them to cross over 100 million easily. But I guess my expectations were destroyed. Either way, what does this mean? When you look at Hoyoverse, for example, what comes to your mind? When you hear the word Hoyoverse, the first thing that comes to mind is Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. The two games that are literally the most profitable gacha games on the planet. They are always number one or number two. Hoyoverse is releasing their third title, Zenless Zone Zero, which is supposed to release in 3 days. 3 or 4 days. But here's where I think Zenless is in trouble. When you consider Hoyoverse titles, they have already set their standard very high with Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. Either it be lore based, either it be combat based, either way, the standard the game set is pretty high, and Zenless has to compete with that. Being advertised as an action game with a heavy emphasis on lore as well, I feel like Zenless will have a hard time keeping up with the high pace of the bar. Wuthering Waves also adds to this effect because the combat in Wuthering Waves is exceptional. It is better than Honkai and Genshin, in my opinion. And it's pretty much proved with the revenue they are making. They are making $45.5 million. People like this game. And this is not just a launch hype. Well, actually, Wuthering Waves only launched a month ago, and it's a serious competition for Zenless. We agree. And that is why in the recent live stream, Zenless actually increased their free pulls which they are giving, which is typically not what Hoyoverse does. Hoyoverse rarely does things like this. But I feel like they are considering Wuthering Waves as a good competitor. They are actually scared of Kuro Games and the way Wuthering Waves is progressing. That is why they are offering all these changes and what they included in their live stream recently. They are expecting Wuthering Waves to be a good competitor for Zenless. Genshin has been around for a long time. Genshin has set the new standards for gacha games. So Genshin, it's set in stone. It's like one of those grandfathered in games. It'll never go away. Honkai Star Rail, on the other hand, another Hoyoverse game. They kept up with the hype. It's a good game. They did a lot of things right in Honkai Star Rail, and we can see that. We can see the efforts. We can see the fruits of their labor here. $92.5 million. I mean, that's a good revenue. Now, will Zenless have issues competing with these? Of course they will. Of course Zenless will have an issue. Will Zenless be as successful as Wuthering Waves? Pretty sure it will. I'm pretty sure Zenless will still be really good on launch. A lot of people will play it, a lot of people will be interested in it. But will it outperform these three? I don't think so. I don't think Zenless Zone Zero will be as good as Wuthering Waves. I personally think so because they are trying to advertise to a hybrid market. By hybrid market, I mean they are trying to put equal emphasis on lore and action combat. Here's where the problem happens. When it comes to action combat, they have to compete with Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves has the best action combat in any gacha game I've seen so far. It is exceptional, it's simply phenomenal. When you look at lore, they are trying to compete with their own games. Honkai Star Rail has set a really high bar for lore, so has Genshin Impact. If any of you haven't played the 1.1 version of Wuthering Waves update which came out recently, I sincerely urge you to try it because the game took a huge turn lore wise. They took all of our feedback and improved upon a lot of things. The voice acting is so much better, the story is phenomenal. 1.1 story in Wuthering Waves is insanely good. So if you are into lore, definitely give Wuthering Waves another shot because I think Wuthering Waves is still doing really good. Of course, their highlight is combat, and they are trying to keep it so that it nurtures multiple audiences, and they're doing a pretty good job with that. But this is why Zenless might have a problem. Because on release, I don't feel like Zenless will have that much content. With all the things which they're trying to pull out and what I saw on the pre-release livestream, I was not all that impressed. Sure, they showcased a lot of new characters, sure, they showcased some couple features, but the gameplay and whatever content they showcased hasn't changed much. Revenue wise, I feel like Zenless will be the lowest of the top 3 simply because of the high bar that the other Hoyoverse games have set. Zenless Zone Zero will have to compete with the golden children of Hoyoverse, Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, and that's not going to be easy. The bar set by those games are very high in every regard, every aspect, and the only place where Zenless Zone Zero can try to outshine is the combat. But when it comes to combat, it has to compete with Wuthering Waves. But we can wait and see. The game comes out in a few days. I'll let every one of you decide if you're going to play the game or not to try and judge how good the game is. I personally feel like Zenless Zone Zero is in a bit of a tough spot. And the fact that Wuthering Waves actually released their 1.0 update before and bringing in all this extra content and the changes and the fixes and all that stuff also put Zenless in a bit more of a tough situation. Because now, not only do they have to fight against Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, it also have to fight against a polished Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves, admittedly, is much more polished than it was during launch, and I've heard good feedback from the 1.1 update. So, we'll see how this goes. But that's it for my opinion, guys. Please let me know in the comments down below if you will actually be playing Zenless Zone Zero or not, and what do you think about the June 2024 gacha revenue. I personally think the overall revenue has been split quite a bit. I expected Honkai Star Rail to make more. I did not expect Genshin Impact to make this much, and I expected Wuthering Waves to make this much. With that being said, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Smash that like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.